up, y'all? My name's Tom. Little while back was an alcoholic. Had a mental breakdown like a year ago. Came close to put me in a coffin. Damn. After the hooker I loved, after I did all the drugs, after I finally got fired for showing up late to the job, hella tired and drunk. After the oxys, I put up my nose with my boss on the oil rigs when I was young. After my ex cut her wrists and the cops thought I stabbed her and beat me, then put me in cuffs. After I totaled my car trying to run from the cops with a kilo of coke in a trunk. After I drank till I rotted my teeth out my head, got infections in all of my gums. After I couldn't get hard cause the vodka and porno sedated me till I was numb. After I couldn't escape from the basement I rented and went to go live with my mom. After I cheated on people I needed and lied trying to hide from the guy that I was. Then I got sober, the madness was over. Now I am proud of the man I become, yeah.
I'm finding someone that I know again. I started climbing out the hole I'm in, fighting demons and I know I win. It's time for me to mend these broken wings. Life has been hard, I know it gets better. This is a war that I'll fight forever.
Y'all, my name's Madchild. I've been off the Xannies for a while now. I was waking up feeling suicidal, but I think I'm finally starting to smile now. Man, I lived a hell of a life. I've been to hell and back twice. Lost $10 million through different addictions. Don't tell me about paying the price. From penthouses with top models, hanging with strippers with pop bottles. Anxious and hiding alone in my room from the world that was pissing in pop bottles. From chart top and being a role model to flop records and lost follows. When I cop product, got a month's worth. When I left the spot, cops followed. Saw a photo, it was only face, cause I was 85 pounds overweight. Mental breakdown trying to catch a plane. Wasn't mad, child, I was only Shane. My puppy Lola was my only gang. Had to put my baby in a grave. I walked away from every brick I laid so I could build a new wall to keep me safe.
I'm finding someone that I know again. I started climbing out the hole I'm in, fighting demons and I know I win. It's time for me to mend these broken wings. Life has been hard, I know it gets better. This is a war that I'll fight forever.
Reason I like boxes, so I'm keeping it.
What up, y'all? My name's Tom. Little while back was an alcoholic. Had a mental breakdown like a year ago. Came close to put me in a coffin. Damn. After the hooker I loved, after I did all the drugs, after I finally got fired for showing up late to the job, hella tired and drunk. After the oxys, I put up my nose with my boss on the oil rigs when I was young. After my ex cut her wrists and the cops thought I stabbed her and beat me, then put me in cuffs. After I totaled my car trying to run from the cops with a kilo of coke in a trunk. After I drank
Well, wasn't that fun? Played the wrong video, all kinds of technical difficulties.
Hey, that's how we roll here. We are not professionals.
And I don't know what I just spilled all over myself, but I am not excited about it. And it got all up in one of my candles. So there's that. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday.
Welcome to and you know what? We're just gonna let it go off of our backs like water, and then everything will be fine.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, because we are real people living real lives.
I'm not a real housewife, but I play one on a podcast.
You're not even from Alberta.
No, I know. So I play a Canadian too. It's even worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't even know I'm Canadian half the time. They talk to me like I am a Canadian, and I'm just like, I'm not from there.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Hard. So I took a month off from doing Wellness Wednesday just because it was like, the beginning of this beginning of the school year and whatnot, and just wanted to get like everything started the right way, I guess. And we're in full swing now, that's for sure. Um, I've been doing lots of crafting, making lots of candles. I have tons.
And
I
making
got
lots of money too.
Yeah, not too bad. These ones are margaritas, midnight margarita. If anybody's ever watched Practical Magic, like one of my favorites. I got teeny tiny ones too.
Are those in little skulls?
Yeah, they're little skull shot glasses.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
Yes. I don't know that you'd want to drink out of it afterwards, but I'm sure you could wash it and use it.
Oh yeah, you just put some boiling water through it to get the wax residue out, and then you could totally use that afterwards.
Right?
Yep.
Well, I guess I'll start with my story, how I came to be who you see sitting in front of you. Some days I don't really know. I guess my big problem with alcohol probably started, I got my first minor consumption when I was 12 years old. Or no, I wasn't quite 12 yet because it was in August. I moved up to Thief River Falls. I blew a .22. And just to, let you know how much dysfunction there was, when I told the cop, I had never lived in this town before, Thief River Falls. I told the cop who my dad was. And he knew exactly who he was and where he was. And he went and got him. And they put me in the drunk tank and waited until...
How old were you? 12?
I was 11. I was almost 12.
Wow.
Yeah. And they picked him up, and they came and picked me up from the jail. And then they gave us both a ride back to my dad's house. And I got a minor consumption. 3 weeks later, my dad showed up to my court appearance drunk for my minor consumption. And that was all she wrote. I went into a group home, and for a while after that, I didn't really try to drink or anything. You couldn't drink. It was a medium security group home, so there were alarms on the doors. You couldn't leave to just go hang out with your friends or anything like that. It just, you were kind of on lockdown, but not really.
And everything was supervised, like all of activities and everything like that?
Yeah, supervised. Everything was supervised. The girls were in a locked unit on one side. The boys were in a locked unit on the other. I was there for so long, actually, they teased that I had become junior staff. And I had seen so many house parents and people coming and going. And yeah, it was interesting. At the end, they started developing different incentives. I could go out for a couple hours, which was just unheard of, but I was there for so long that it was I got to get out and do something. And I did actually end up in a foster home there for a short amount of time, but kids that grow up in turbulent homes we tend to self-sabotage things. So I sabotaged a really good home and ended up in juvenile detention in Bemidji Northwest. I got kicked out of Pennington County. I had to have a court order to go back to Pennington County before I turned 18. So I had to petition the court to go back for Christmas 2 times. That was really a great town, though, honestly. That I had my social workers were my family. Literally, they took me out of the group home and stuff for Christmases and to hang out and stuff like that. And I still talk to a lot of them, actually. But after that self-sabotaging incident, it landed me here in Itasca County. In a different foster home with John and Char Alto, and they were the best thing that ever happened to me, honestly, because there I could be a kid,
Hmm.
you know, growing up the way that I did in a single mother home, and chaos was pretty much, you know, the norm. Uh, that it's hard to move around a lot and be the new kid and this and that. And at
So
John and Terry,
they were
there was
like
stability.
the foster parents that are like meant to be foster parents, the ones that,
Yes.
you know, that have that, I don't know, calling or drive, and they actually do save a lot of kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, big time. If it wasn't for them, I don't think I would have graduated high school. My foster mom told me that she told me that the Pennington County social workers wrote her and John a letter and this and that saying about, like, thank you. We didn't think she was going to graduate. Thank you for getting her through this. I don't know how
Mhm.
you did. Like, that even in itself spiraled some of my alcoholism, I think, because after my foster dad passed away, he passed
Mhm.
away before I graduated. So for the first time in my life, I have this stability. I have these people that are really caring and loving and just, you know, whatever. And then my foster dad passed away of Lou Gehrig's right before I graduated. Like that was the beginning of my first alcoholic meltdown.
Well, and that's it's so hard because it's warranted. Like, yeah, that's a good, I don't know how to say it. Like, it's good reason to have an alcoholic meltdown if there ever is one. It's understandable. I think that's what, like,
Yeah.
a heartbreak like that. It's hard if you haven't had, you know, kind of decades to develop healthy coping mechanisms, and
Yeah.
you're just at the cusp of getting better and getting out of um, the damaging behaviors, and you go through something detrimental like that. Of course, you're always going to go back to what you know, right? You're going to go back the coping mechanisms that you've developed up to that point.
Yeah, all the unhealthy habits. Fucking
Yeah. What's what you know?
oh man.
It's what you know, right? Like your whole life, that's been how you dealt with things, right?
That
How
was
are you?
so much of my personality too, that
Mhm.
like, oh, I'm gonna be the life of the party because, you know, I didn't get enough of the right kind of attention when I was a kid, so
Mhm.
I went and got shit-faced drunk and made an ass out of myself about 90% of the time.
Yeah.
There was always a good story. Whether I was the good guy in it or not depends on who you talk to.
Yeah.
And looking back at a lot of that shit over the years, it's been the unlearning of like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Can't believe I did that.
Yeah.
You know, I've gone to a total of 9 treatments,
Okay.
9 different types of chemical dependency. My first was when I was 14. Uh, my last one was, God, I don't know. It was almost a decade ago now.
Mhm.
Probably 8 or 9 years ago. Now was my last treatment. And that one really changed it all because at that point I had all the tools to change. I just wasn't using them.
Yep.
It takes a long time to rewire your brain
Oh
from
yeah.
that chaos, you know, that you're talking about, all those bad coping mechanisms. And boy, did I have a ton. I learned so many throughout my life.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes I think I'm just like, I go over things. I overthink so much. I go over things and I'm like, God, had I not responded this way, this wouldn't have got me the reaction that I got, whether it was good or bad. And then I might not have done this, you know. Or
Mhm.
thinking about addiction and shitty things that you do to people or shitty things that you do to yourself.
Well, and that's like, I'm not a huge believer in the 12-step program, but I think that's one of the important steps. Like, you don't have to go to everybody that you've wronged, but to the people that mean something to you,
Yeah.
I think that's a good process where you can go to them and take ownership of your behavior and not necessarily ask for forgiveness, but just be like, for lack of a better term, apologize. And
Yeah.
whether you get their forgiveness or not, that's with them. But just getting that off your chest that
I
because
found that
uh-huh.
some of my amends were better made
Mhm.
by changing the behavior
Yes.
because sometimes you hurt people so much that it's just unrepairable in words. You have to put into action, and it has
Yep.
to be like continuous right action, and replacing all those bad coping mechanisms with positive coping mechanisms, and then
Mhm.
good habits. That
Yep.
that gets hard to do, and it's easy to get sucked in right back into your shit sometimes,
Yeah.
especially like when you're stressed out, things are going bad. The first thing I used to do was call up a friend and grab a bottle. We're going to
Yeah.
the bar, we're going to a party, let's get fucked up.
We're gonna forget our worries
Yeah.
until tomorrow.
Yeah, and then I wake up in the morning and it's fucking worse. I lost my car, I lost my phone, I lost my keys. Don't know where
Yeah.
my wallet is. I'm sitting in jail. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's
Those
like,
kind of things.
yeah.
Uh I had a unique experience with my last stint with probation and treatment and all of that stuff. Um I had the privilege of having two previous probation officers that I had had before. The county was going
Okay.
through a shakeup at that time, so like they were cycling people out and trying to
Mhm.
place everybody, and I went with the one, and she was just like, God, you really changed, and I'm really proud of you, and I want you to know that like it's good to see you in here and not behind bars and this and that. And then the other one was like, what'd she say? She goes, what changed? I got sick of paying fines. I got sick of sitting in jail.
Yeah.
Not that I did any obscene amount of time of jail. I did, the minimum of whatever the sentence was, basically, for a DWI, uh, which I still have a blow and go suffering from those consequences.
Mhm.
I'll still have that for another 2 years
Yeah.
on top of what I've already had. So that makes it 7 total.
Okay. And so that's the device that's in your car where you have to do breathalyzer before the car let you start it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You have to blow in it every single time. It sucks. The thing that really fucking sucked about it is that it took 5 years for me to even get my license back after I got that initial D-dub that told me that I had to have that Intoxilock.
Oh.
Like it was a struggle. It was a struggle. I noticed things from now. Obviously, this job that I've had,
Mhm.
this is my 7th year, 8th season. I have never, prior to getting clean and sober this time, I have never kept a job that long continuously.
Oh, wow.
Because if I didn't like it, I'd just be like, fuck you, I'm out of here. Make
Mhm.
sure that I got a couple more lined up or whatever. Like, there was no consistency to it. It was
Yeah.
just, oh, well, fuck it. I'm out. You guys pissed me off. And half the time, it probably wasn't even really a good reason. Or just wake up drunk, hungover. I don't feel like going to work today. Well, guess that's your last warning. You're fired.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and
That
and
shit's
now you have consistency with exterior chaos that happens, but that's just life. That's just the
yeah.
world. Um, but inside yourself, you found that consistency and that strength to stay on the good path, I guess you can say.
To know that I'm worth it.
That's
all that
profound.
time all the time that I was out there really fucking up and
Mhm.
engaging in all those toxic relationships, and
Mhm.
toxic relationships have their own set of fucking patterns.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
that whole time I was sitting out there thinking that this is what I deserved. This is all I'm good for. This is all I'm gonna get. Uh it took really stepping away and figuring out that doesn't matter what I did, doesn't matter how we got here. What matters is that I'm worth it and that I keep trying.
Yeah. And I think that's the
Never
hardest
stop.
lesson to learn, right? Because when you fuck up, we're our own worst enemies, right? So when we fuck up and we know down to the core of our being that we've damaged people that we love, or that we've ruined relationships that really meant a lot to us, or whatever, um going through that realization and doing the apologies and making the amends and all that, building that self-worth up, that you're worth it. Because the easiest thing to do is just be like, well, I'm a piece of shit, doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah.
And building, and I hate to use the term self-esteem, because the translation of that is self-awe, and we should never be in awe of ourselves, because we're not a god, we're just human. But having that of, you know what, I'm worth showing up for my job. I'm worth taking the extra effort to some days have a shower. Like those simple things. That's an incredibly profound lesson, and I'm very proud of you that you understand that you are worth it, if not to anyone else, but to yourself.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm awkward with compliments, so
Well, you just fucking take it and say thank you.
thank you.
I'm the same way. Like when somebody gives me compliments, I give them excuses of why they shouldn't be giving me a compliment.
Yeah,
Right?
sometimes I do that, or
Yeah.
I belittle myself in some way, or
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it could have been better, or
Yeah.
something like that.
The
Depending on what
thanks
kind
but.
of day I'm having, it can go either way. But I'm
Yep.
a lot better now versus when I was younger. Even 5 years ago,
Mhm.
of stopping myself. And you know that little phrase I like to use, first thought wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, why am I doing this? Why am I engaging in this behavior with this person when I know what the outcome is going to be?
Mhm.
I just sometimes I do it anyway because I'm like, no, fuck, I've had enough.
Yep.
I'm not gonna be quiet about it anymore. And then other times I'm just like, this is too much of a headache. I know how this conversation is gonna go. I'm done. I'm removing myself from it.
Yep.
Or whatever situation. Sometimes because of my codependency,
Mhm.
codependent as fuck, I allow myself to absorb other people's situations, and I'm like, oh, I can fix it. I can fix it.
Yeah.
It's so hard to not try to fix people and want to fix things all the fucking time. It's like, I don't have to be that person to fix it anymore. The only thing I'm responsible for is
Mhm.
me. How I react to things, what I say, what I'm doing. That's the only thing I can do. Yes, do sometimes my behaviors provoke outcomes that are undesirable?
Mhm.
Well, yes, they are, and I deal with those consequences as they come.
Mhm.
I'm also been doing a whole hell of a lot as far as boundaries. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't used to have them at all. I was such a fucking doormat and let people do whatever, whenever. And I mean, to a certain extent, I guess I kind of do. It's situational. with some people, but I'm a fuck a lot. I can say no now.
Yeah.
I can say no and advocate for myself, whereas before I'd just be quiet, not say anything, just let things happen.
We have a couple chats here.
Oh, okay.
So Erin says, "Hey, ladies."
Hello.
And hopefully whatever you spilled on yourself smells good.
I don't know what it was. Somebody was drinking something nasty.
Hopefully it doesn't have milk in it. Ugh. And then of course grief is the hardest to get through. Yeah. Yeah, it
That
is.
was that grief was the hardest thing to get through, especially after my son passed away.
Mhm.
My oldest son, Gage, some people know if they know me outside of here. He passed away 2 days short of his 1-year birthday. When he was born, they said he was going to be born with gastroschisis. And what that is a hole in the abdominal wall by the
Okay.
belly button, and usually some intestines are born on the outside of the body. So that was stressful. The whole time we were thinking that's what was going to happen. And when he came out, it was so much worse. I was young kid, like 19, 20 years old ish. And I just was in awe. What happened to him was one in 55,000 chance of happening. They don't know why it happened. And what happened was he had 70 centimeters of his small intestine, no gallbladder, and a microcolon. I don't think you need a gallbladder, but
No. I know people that have had them removed, so.
But with the 70 centimeters of the small intestine, that's where you absorb all your nutrition and all that. So there was that was a big, huge issue, actually. And they stretched it out for a long time. And eventually, when it was too late, when there was nothing else that could be done, they decided they would do the intestinal transplant. But what was happening at that time is his liver, due to the IV nutrition he was getting, his liver, his spleen, and his kidneys were all failing.
Oh no.
So then when they did that transplant, the liver didn't take. And within 3 days of the surgery, he ended up going brain dead, and I had to take him off of life support. That was probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, and boy, did I go on a fucking spiral after that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, my PO didn't even contact me for 6 months.
Wow.
At that time. At one point, she called, and it was at the point I figured I was probably gonna die. She called me and told me we needed to get back on track, and I needed to get back into treatment, and then I put myself into inpatient treatment.
That's smart.
Yeah. Took care of all that and ended up, that was my first stint of a long period of sobriety. I was sober for 1.5 years at that point, but I got pregnant. I got pregnant with Rowan. And then I ended up moving out to Colorado and living there for 1.5 years and had him out there, and I was sober, and I'm not even shitting you, when I left, the day that I left, I got drunk. Well, not the day. I got back to Minnesota within 24 hours, 21 hours. And I dropped Rowan off with my mom I fucking went out and got drunk with a friend. Do that
Yeah.
away, right quick.
So it's almost like it's a coping mechanism that you've developed for something extremely stressful, but it's also like a pressure release valve because there's so much pressure building up in you because you don't know how to get rid of it in a healthy manner. So the pressure builds because you just don't know how to release it. So eventually something breaks and you go to what you know. So it's understandable that something insanely stressful like that, you try so hard to be good, and then you're just like, fuck it. And you have to release. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because at that point in your life, you haven't fully developed the proper mechanisms or the proper people to reach out to in your life, or I don't even know how to describe it.
At that point, I really didn't have anybody. I come back here and, my only real supports were my boyfriend at that time, my son Rowan's father. His sister was a big support to me.
Oh, good.
She because of everything, the situation that happened out there, and obviously I wasn't perfect, but I wasn't gonna stay there. And he worked in the oil field, and there was some toxicity happening with some extracurricular activities of his, and I needed to get out of there.
On the oil patch? Really?
Yeah. Well, it's not like I had very many friends. And I mean, it is what it is. I got a lot of, I got friends out of that relationship that I've had for 20 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
Family. I'm still really close with his sister and, some of his nieces and nephews and stuff like that. So, like that, it was a great experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Some things could have been different. That was some wild shit.
Well, and it goes to show your resiliency in everything that you've gone through. And you're still here and you're still kicking and you're still trying and you're still young too.
Oh yeah.
Right? You still have a whole life ahead of you, and you have, your kids and your man, and there's people that are doing you right now. And there's gonna be slip ups, and there's gonna be times where we're all human. I mean, I've fucked up all the time, but you get better at course correcting before it gets too bad. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Before I used to see it coming. I'm like, oh, I see it. Oh, it's here. I may as well fucking just dive in head first.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, okay, maybe pull it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially with this last time of quitting drinking. This 3-year stint was due to I let a lot of things build up on top of each other, and kept it in and letting shit go and ignoring. Oh God, did I do a fair amount of ignoring?
Yeah.
Distracting myself with gay podcasts and things like that.
Well, that in itself is addictive. Like, rage is addictive in itself, or dysfunction is addictive, and it sucks you in. And if you have an addictive personality, you can, because it's easy and it's painless and there's nothing wrong with it. And then 6 months later, you pick your head up and you're like, what the fuck? I can't believe I've wasted my life on this stupid bullshit. And I got so sucked in and so indoctrinated and so manipulated. It's like, God damn it.
I manipulated myself a majority of my life, continuing to lie to myself and engage in things that just really weren't for me. And I should have took the hint. And stopped.
Yeah.
But it's still that thing of like, you feel like you're missing out. and you want to
Yep.
be a part of something. You want to do something important and you're not sure how to do that.
Yeah.
And then you get in your own fucking way.
Well, and
That's
somebody presents you, it's like, well, here's a super clear path on how you can do nothing but be doing something, and you're important, and you're like, oh my God, I'm important and I'm doing something, yay! And you follow after it, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh my God. I know I've told it more than once on here,
Mhm.
but my honey, I want to talk about my honey because he is a very, very important person in my life. And he also helped me get sober without even
Mhm.
knowing me.
Oh.
I found one of his books due to the religion we both share,
Mhm.
spirituality, I should say. And I read it. I read it like 3 times. And I was like, oh my God, why can't I find a man that thinks like this? So more toxic relationships happen, and a lot of letting go needed to be done. And
Mhm.
fast forward a few years and I end up meeting him. And I was just like, okay, fucking whatever. I got to meet this guy that wrote this book that really helped change my life.
Mhm.
And well, I think it was like maybe a year and a half, close to 2 years later, we
Yeah.
ended up in a relationship. The beginning was kind of rocky.
Yeah.
Just through lack of not really knowing each other and jumping head first,
Mhm.
and some bad moves on my part. I know for sure there's some shit that I regret that I would love to take back.
Mhm.
And due to alcohol, I can't. I can't, but I can continue to not drink,
Yep.
to not become that person that I was again. That's a good thing. And I definitely think, as stubborn as Brian is, like, I'm equally as stubborn, and we're a good fit. We balance each other out.
Mhm.
He has that anger piece too, and I also have that anger piece
Right.
that we both had to figure out different ways of navigating. Mine
Right.
was like that reactive abuse. I go through so much of, you know, it doesn't even matter what kind of relationship it is, romantic or not. I'm talking about all of them.
Mhm.
The gaslighting and the projection and the this and the that, and it just piles up on you, and eventually you explode, like you said. And I bombed it and realized I needed to probably take a look at my own fucking inventory again and change some more behaviors.
Yep. So Erin, she says, good job at working at the Pontoon place for so long.
Thanks.
That's how I remember you, is from the chats, is the pontoon
Pontoon lady.
pontoon lady.
Pontoons.
And then my buddy Kizza says, evening, how's everyone doing?
Wonderful.
We're doing good. We're talking about recovery, and it is possible, and you can get dragged through the muck and fuck
Or
shit up
drag
so bad.
yourself through the muck.
Yeah. Or drag yourself through the muck and fuck things up so bad, but you can always come back from it and you can recover. And then I know Shannon here, she says she's so sorry.
Mm. Well, everything that's happened to me, no matter what it is,
Mhm.
has made me a stronger person.
100%. That's something that I have to tell myself too. It's like I look back on my life and I'm like, holy shit. But I sit there and go, but that's why I'm who I am today. That's why I can deal with the things that I deal with today. That's why I enjoy things that I enjoy today. Like just sometimes the peace and quiet and the good relationships that I found.
Right.
Right. Like my partner in life, we were both incredibly damaged people when we first met, and we were just on the road to our own individual recoveries. And the discussion that we had, because we both knew that we were both very damaged people, but we really liked each other and we really clicked well, was, okay, if we're going to do this together, we have to be 100%, and we have to be able to call each other on each other's shit with I guess no blowback. Incidences where I was fucking up and he was basically, if you want to be with me, you can't do this anymore. And when he was fucking up, and I'm just like, yeah, no, this is a deal breaker for me. If you can't make strides towards getting better in this, we're not doing this anymore. And that we've been together for 13 years almost. I think it's 13 years now. But it gets easier and better and easier and better, because it's like when you're bowling with bumpers, you kind of hit the bumper and knock back onto the line, because you're always gonna we're human, you're always gonna mess up, or something's gonna happen, or you'll start see a pattern start forming in yourself or in your partner, and you kind of go, whoa, hey.
Yeah, reel it in. I'm noticing things.
I've said that to myself. I'll sit there and go, wait a minute, this is the bad path.
Well, sometimes I also have to reel it in and be like, wait a minute, is this really happening, or am I making it more out of it than there really needs to be?
Yeah, that too.
Like, is this as big of a deal as I think it is? Or, you know, I've learned to pick my battles with certain things. Sometimes I get triggered and I'm fucking like, are you fucking kidding me? Cut the shit.
Well, it's like you said, what is it? First thought wrong. I remember you said that, like in passing conversation. And
first thought wrong. The very first thought that you have in your mind when stress or chaos or whatever arises is usually an emotional reaction or response to whatever is coming your way.
Yep.
So my big thing has been try to do the exact opposite of whatever it is you think this is going to do to you.
Yeah, well, when you're spinning, like you're spinning off the rails, at that moment that you're spinning off the rails and your head is going crazy, like as females, we tend to do. And like, I'll be the first to admit it. Like when I get hyper emotional, I'm not thinking clearly. And sometimes you just need a good slap back into reality.
Yeah.
Until you get that slap back in reality, not physically, of course, I'm not advocating for violence. But when you get that moment of clarity and you calm down, then it's like, okay, now I can logically think about this, and I can think about what's going on, and I can gauge my reaction when I'm not freaking out about everything. Because I've had those moments too, where like you just lose the top of your head and your brains fly out and you're spinning. And
I used to
calm down.
Like, in order to condition my brain to do that, like for a really long time after I was done with treatment, I carried around my fucking treatment packet, my tools packet.
Yeah.
Like, carried it with me and practiced these things continuously. Like, okay, is this going to get me the reaction that I want? Or, you know, how is this going to affect me? How is this going to affect other people?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's the score going to be if I act like a crazy bitch?
Well, it's like when you're having an anxiety attack, right? Like when you're dealing with anxiety. Anxiety isn't always just somebody panicking and going, and then freaking out. Anxiety, well, for me anyway, it's a freeze. So I can't function. I can't do anything. And the grounding yourself, like the grounding exercises that I've learned, when you start to get up into your head, I found the grounding exercises, like when I'm panicking or freaking out about something stupid, not quite an anxiety attack, but going down the wrong path or having a triggered emotion because somebody said something or whatever,
Yeah.
doing the 5 senses grounding. So touch something, smell something, focus on a color, like pick out a color, focus on a
Mhm.
sensation like the wind. I know for me, if it's really bad, the ice water on the face.
Ice water.
Oh yeah, it's so here's here's what you do. So a cold cloth will work. Like if you just run the water under the tap as cold as you can get it, and just a cold wet cloth on the face. What it does is it biologically shocks you into survival mode. So it
Huh.
interrupts whatever's going on in your head. And basically, it just tells your body, okay, we're drowning in ice water right now. We need to survive. So all of those upper thoughts and those upper emotions and everything, they just stop happening. If it's really bad, you have a bowl of ice water and you plunge your head into it.
Dunk your
And it
head
gives
in
you
it.
that bioshock that kind of like snaps you back into reality, and then you can think clearly. So, my mom always used to tell me, just go splash some water on your face, go wash your face with, cool water and calm yourself down. And, I always thought it was like a silly old wives' tale, but then going through therapy and stuff like that, it's like, oh shit, there's actually a scientific reason why these old I've taught my kids that, like, when you're panicking or freaking out or you can't think clearly,
Yeah.
doing grounding exercises is the best thing for you. So, that's just my little piece there. I do have to run and I have to go. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I have to go lock up my chickens.
All right.
But it'll take me 5 minutes. I just have to run outside, turn on the security lights and make sure they're in bed, but I'll be right back. Did you want me to put something on, or are you're going to talk about your honey?
I don't know what I'm going to talk about.
Well, how about healthy responses? Oh
Here's
my
Darren.
God, good timing.
Hi.
Are you guys quitting?
No, I need to go lock up the chickens.
Oh, good.
So we were trying to decide what we were going to cover the time with, but we can cover it with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I stupidly went into the wrong one, so I sat in one for a minute, and then I finally was like, looked at the corner, and I was like, it's ended. So it was like an old StreamYard
No,
live.
he's not deleting them.
But I figured it out and came into the right place.
No, because we don't delete messages in here. We just let it ride. It might be YouTube if you're being too overtly,
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to pop out real quick. I'll be right back, okay?
All right.
Wow, I was listening to it at the beginning, and your story is quite an amazing story, Jarna.
There's a lot of shit that went on in between, but I don't need to rehash every ugly detail.
That's true. I feel like everybody's life, if you like wrote down all the weird stuff and the crazy drama, is a little bit like a soap opera. Well, mine is for sure.
Yeah, I've had some soap opera type shit. Like, when I first got clean off of meth, that was interesting. Because I had my own little mini conspiracy thing going on.
Oh,
And there was a lot of people.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that shit was a trip, but what I had needed to get from all of that was to realize, stop fucking helping everybody else and help yourself. You're not going to save these people, and staying connected to them was not getting me anywhere in life. It was getting me nothing but problems. I had CPS breathing down my ass. I had fucking, we were all being investigated because of my association with my boyfriend at that time, and I didn't want to let him go. I'm like, I'm going to save him. I'm going to get him through this. Like, no, motherfucker, you weren't. That motherfucker is still doing the same shit. And you would probably, I would I would probably be in prison now had I not
Just had to
removed
cut, yeah,
myself from
cut
that.
yourself loose and go.
Yeah, it was a lot of toxic shit. And I'm glad that my children were too young to really remember anything. I
Yeah.
don't think I don't think they seen too much in general anyway, just based off of a conversation I actually had with my son. I was talking about like kind of apologizing to them in a way, having a serious conversation, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry if you ever seen this and that, and I was always up at the bar, and Rowan's just looking at me going, "What do you mean, Mom?" He goes, "You were like never at the bar."
And you're like,
And
okay.
like, okay. I mean, I guess. But you know, that goes to show me how much I don't remember.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah,
was
that's well, at
COVID
least your
was the
kids aren't like
worst.
super crazy angry and, have terrible, animosity towards you.
No, they have typical tween and teen animosity now. They're like, Mom,
So
get off my ass, leave me alone, let me
the,
do
the
what I want to
proper
do.
amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do what I want.
It's like,
Okay, well
go.
then why are you asking me? As
Yeah.
long as you're not doing drugs or burning down houses or anything like that, I guess, whatever. We do have issues occasionally with not being able to express themselves properly, and it comes out in different ways. I see it sometimes, and I'm like, okay, gotta come back to it and be like,
Yeah.
now what was behind this, and what are we gonna do about it? We gotta change something because you can't keep behaving in this manner. Otherwise, you're gonna end up in trouble.
Yeah.
So let's fix this. What can we do? How can I be better?
I feel like all parenting is that struggle really at the base of it, right? Like I can't get my child to get to school on time. It seems like it should be easy, but I can't do it. She's never on time. She's always late. I
Hmm.
know it's probably not the same, but you know what I mean? It's just like this reoccurring thing where it's like, let's try this. No, no,
She don't ride the bus or what?
no, no.
Oh,
She gets there on her own. She gets there. That's where I feel like, hey, she gets there. If she's late, that's better
yeah.
than not at
How
all,
far is her
right?
school away?
Pardon?
How far away is her school?
Oh no, it's about the morning routine, right? It's about the getting out of bed on
Oh,
time. It's about the eating the breakfast on like the first ask. It's just like the endless struggle of like waking up and like getting yourself organized.
discipline, making yourself. I struggle with that too. My kids probably wouldn't get up on time if I didn't wake them up every morning.
Oh, I wake her up. I'm getting her up.
I'm really annoying. I'll knock on their doors. I'll be like, good morning, I love you, good morning.
I was gonna ask,
Yeah.
do you sing the good morning song until they're so angry at you that they get up in a rage?
No. No, I kind of miss singing to them though.
I still do it. My daughter's 19.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I used to sing them to sleep at night. They always liked listening to You Are My Sunshine and Silent Night. It didn't matter if it was Christmas time or whatever or not. They loved Silent Night.
Yeah, that's a nice song.
Mhm.
So cute. I want them to be little again.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think about that in relation to my drinking or drugging and stuff, and I'm like, what could we have been doing? What did they miss out on because I didn't have money to fucking go anywhere and do anything?
Well,
Yeah.
And now that I'm an adult, like a legitimate adult, with my poop in a group for the most part, it's like they still don't want to do anything with me.
well, they say another old lady term, right, is don't should on yourself,
Yes.
right? So don't shoulda, coulda, woulda. Because
Yeah,
That is
that's
I,
right.
definitely
I know
true.
because I'm terrible for that. It's like, oh, I should have
Yeah.
this, I should have that, I should have spent more time doing whatever, I should have
Yeah.
you know, not moved to this place or not been in a relationship with this ridiculous person and that's and that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's in the past. It's gone. It's something that's happened. It's cool. Like
Yeah.
you learn your lesson and you move
And I
on.
feel like everybody feels like that when you have little kids. Like I
Oh.
wish my oldest had slept more because I don't remember my middle child's
Mhm.
beginning years. Like I was so overtired that it's a real foggy blur. You know, she'll say, "What happened when I was this age?" I don't remember. I really
Mhm.
don't remember. I was living on 3 hours of sleep for 6 years, so I don't remember any of it.
Yeah.
I
You
have
know?
tons of pictures. There were like no pictures of me. Uh, there's a few. There was literally one baby picture. So when they were younger, I was snapping pictures all the
Yeah.
time. All the time. Now they don't
Mhm.
want me to take pictures of them. They want to take pictures of themselves.
Do it anyway.
Ah, I do
Yeah.
occasionally or make them smile. Take a picture with me. Don't be mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take a picture with mom. I would
Yeah.
tell them now because I'm older and my kids are in their 30s and everything. I'm like, take a picture with me. I'm not going to be here for very much longer. I still have a good 50 years on me, so they're
Yeah.
good. But I like to guilt them into things.
And
But
it is
then,
nice to have those pictures.
oh yeah, like pictures with mom or just the silly day or just that
Yeah.
nice memory.
Totally.
Yeah.
Mhm.
My kids will let me take pictures of them. Well, I don't know. I guess that's a question. My youngest one will for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
She likes it. It's always like I always take pictures of dogs and cats.
I kind of do that too sometimes.
Yeah. Got a lot of pets pictures, so many pets pictures, some kid pictures.
Hmm.
They're the best is animal pictures. They're so cute and sometimes you mix the kids and the animals together and those are the best ones.
Hmm.
Ooh, breath work. There's
Mm.
all kinds of things that I've tried through. Music has got me through a fuck of a lot of things in my life.
Mm.
A
Yeah.
good playlist
Okay.
can get you through just about anything.
Yeah.
But I've tried everything. Books and behavioral psychology tools.
Okay.
That's what I'm big into now. Every time I read a book, I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, how can I incorporate some of these tools into my life?
Hmm.
Figure out how to, you know, operate more evenly.
You tried
I
journaling?
journaling, yeah, I
Mhm.
do some journaling. I write things. I put ideas or dreams. I kept a dream journal for a
Mm.
while because after I got sober, I kept on having all kinds of crazy dreams, like dreams about people I haven't met, dreams about people's relatives, and like
Mhm.
it was fucking nutty. And
Yeah, those
anybody
Yeah.
who
are weird
knows me
dreams.
that I've had a dream about them and something's happened, like it's come true, they're like, holy shit, they know. So
Mm.
that was like, that's big for me. I still have dreams like that. I still write things down sometimes, especially when I have dreams repeatedly, because it
Yeah.
holds
Yes.
some kind of message, something that I'm supposed to
Yeah.
get out of it that I've not yet seen.
Yeah.
And being in tune with that is kind of important to me to have some type of spiritual release. Haven't been a part of a church or anything in a while. Got turned off to all of that. It just wasn't my thing anymore. I went from Christianity to Asatru, and don't get me wrong, the church that I was in is great, and there are some amazing people. And at the end, it got way too cult-like for me. When you are no longer allowed to have your own opinions, but you have to espouse the opinions of the
Leader.
organization, even if it's not something you believe in, well, then it's just like, what's the fucking point? Why did I join?
Yeah.
I'm I'm gonna say what I want to say. I'm sorry if the opinion's not of your liking, but
Yeah. Yeah. The point is not to hold you down, and that's what it
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
yeah, it's not really religious freedom.
No.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I use exercise to de-stress. This is like I don't do any of the things you guys do. I use exercise. When I had a
Exercise?
divorce, I would run, kilometers a day. Now that I'm older, I'll do different exercise, but I still
See,
do
I
a lot of
do
exercise.
exercise to keep myself stable.
Yeah.
So as I've gotten older, I found flexibility and strength because I used to be huge on the cardio. I used to be a long distance runner and stuff like that. But as I've gotten older, I found strength and flexibility. So like lifting, and then flexibility afterwards does make me feel calmer and in more control of my body and my emotions.
Hmm.
But I had a very, very unhealthy relationship with exercise and dieting for many years. So if
Okay.
I try to use exercise as a stress reliever, I tend to slip back into that addiction.
It makes me more stressed out.
To exercise.
No, like I feel good, but when I'm exercising and I get into it, I know I have my routine and everything, but then when I start counting calories and this
Yeah.
and that, and then
You guys get OCD about it.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
then it stresses me out more and I stop and I'm like,
Okay.
okay, it's too
See,
much.
for me, it's like the mixing the outside
Mhm.
with the exercise, right? The fresh air,
Oh, that's so good for you.
having like all of the scenery and all of it and like the quietness, or you can listen to music. I feel like all of those combinations together, like not really going to the gym, not really counting the calories, not counting reps, just like going outside, walking, or like doing some chores or whatever it is you're doing outside, but just like, getting outside, moving your body, enjoying the dogs or whatever. Anyway, that's what I feel like is the best thing for me.
Yeah, no, that's like getting out, going for a nice walk, or just like going to a park and sitting under the trees, touching grass.
Yeah, grounding, getting back in touch with nature.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and not in like an OCD like exercise way, but like in a healthy, getting in touch with nature way.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's so much stuff that I used to do more regularly until I ended up with a job where the busy season is summertime.
Right.
You know?
Yeah,
And it
then it's
sucks.
hard to get outside because it's dark half the time when you're not at work.
Yeah, now it'll be nice here in another month. We'll go to 5 o'clock, so I'll have that extra half an hour to do,
Yeah.
other things. Usually I end up starting going to the gym more during the winter, which
Yeah.
is whatever. No beach bodies for me.
No.
I
Yeah.
could really care less. I probably haven't been on a pontoon in like 2 years, I think.
Really? Don't you guys have trips for your job where you guys go out and sit on a boat?
No, I'm sure if I wanted to, I could borrow one of the, employees' pontoons. They all live on the same lake. but like I don't have a car that can pull a pontoon. I have friends that have pontoons and shit like that, but it's like, okay, well, what's going on this weekend? What's everybody doing during the summer?
Real Housewives.
Yeah.
trip.
A what?
A Real Housewives trip, like in the summer or whatever.
Ooh,
A get together
fuck yeah.
in the States. I'll have to get my passport renewed. I think.
Woohoo! I keep telling Rocky to get a goddamn passport. Y'all need to, since I can't come to Canada.
Yep. We have to come to you.
Yeah, they're
Mhm.
so worried about my DWI. The thing that fucking trips me out out about that is I can't legally petition to come back to Canada until 10 years after all of my conditions from my last offense were met.
Fuck,
So
really?
it would be another 2.5 years, and then I would have to wait 10. So it'd be 12 years
Wow.
before I could petition to come to Canada.
Or
Oh boy.
or hear me out. Just get a really dark tan and just cross at Roxham Road and claim asylum.
Oh my
Or as
god,
an
no.
international student.
Yeah.
I don't know who's walking into Canada for fucking
30,000 people did.
Yeah.
that is
They
insane.
get taxis and then they just walk across and then they meet another taxi.
Yeah.
That's
I think
actually what they do.
Well, they were trying to jump the border from Canada into Minnesota last year.
yeah, a bunch of the asylum seekers in Canada were trying to walk into the
Like,
US,
let us out, let us out.
claim asylum
I
from
think
Canada.
they did close Roxham Road, didn't they?
They closed it, but it's so well known, and I don't know. There's people wandering across. Like, think about it. Like the border
Yeah.
in southern Alberta, like Erin, you know, it's a farmer's field with a stick in the ground that says USA on this side and Canada on that side.
Thousand Rocks.
So it's like a stick in the ground.
Well, I think you're more likely like there's places at Waterton where you can just hike across.
Yeah, you just wander across.
I mean, it's not easy. Okay, because there's a lake and everything, but like you could do you could probably do it in Waterton.
Well, Alberta to Idaho, it's farmland. Like the topography does not change at the border.
Yeah, you're
It's
right.
just-
It's not like there's a fence.
no, and there's no one patrolling
Yeah.
it. It's not like the
No.
southern states where there's like a
Squirrel.
wall and all that stuff.
But if you're gonna walk across, like you've got a long walk to go to get somewhere.
Yeah, true.
Hard
You know?
pass.
It's a long walk.
Yeah.
I think that a housewives retreat would be awesome, and there are actually resorts up by Canada that
Oh yeah,
That
on
are
the border that
border.
we could meet at,
yeah.
just on the side of the states. That'd be
Well,
fun.
the whole part of Minnesota, that whole tip there is the Angle Inlet is up there in
Mhm.
Canada.
Oh,
So like
yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's on Lake the Woods. Technically, I could go to Canada, but I just can't get off on the other side.
Yeah.
I would have to stay on my boat.
Yeah.
Well, we should make serious plans because the other thing that's good for your mental health is hugs.
Hugs. Yes.
I
Hugs.
never understood because I was raised by English parents. Like I'm English and I was raised by English parents, and there was no hugging. Like physical touch was not a thing. And I think it was 5 years ago at my work, I met this girl who she was all about hugs. And it was platonic. It was a good thing. And she's just like, "Oh, do you want a hug?" And there was a couple days there where I'm like, "Oh no, thank you." She was very polite and stuff, but she was the best hugger in the world. And then finally one day I was having a shit day and she's like, "Okay, come on, Holly, we're gonna have a hug." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I went in and she gave me like a beautiful hug, and I just melted. And I'm like, oh, that's what that is.
Yeah.
So from that point on, I decided to get out of my comfort zone and actually hug people and do
Hugs
that
are amazing.
that heart-to-heart connection, that platonic, just a good human-to-human connection. And it was just like, holy shit, hugs actually are a good thing. And then, because I'm OCD or whatever, ADHD or autism that way, I did the research into what actually happens to you physiologically when
Yeah.
you have a good hug someone and receive that physical touch. Oh, it's huge what happens to your brain and what happens to your endocrine system and your hormones. It balances you. Like, so I'm not going to hugging strangers, like, oh my God, that's just but implementing that into my life, like truly hugging people. So
Mhm.
housewives should have a hug tour.
Yes.
So none of this
I
rage.
like to hug dogs and sheep.
You like to
I
hug,
think
well,
that's
and hugging animals too,
dogs
like
and sheep.
the animals that appreciate it, right? Like my one dog loves
Yes.
hugs and he loves cuddles and that physical touch. He always wants to be touching. Like
Yeah.
he's right beside-
My
He always
cat
wants-
definitely does. She
Yeah.
fucking takes her paws and will like grab you. Grab
she's
like,
Yeah.
like, no, come here. Put that down with her paws and fucking pull your arm over. It's a trip.
Yeah.
She
I
knows
have
when I'm
one-
bummed out.
I have one chicken that likes cuddles.
A cuddle chicken.
Yeah.
I have a cuddle
Almost all
chicken.
animals like snuggles.
Yeah,
Oh.
one of my 5 girls. The others are friendly. They're nice. They'll come up for treats and I can pet them and stuff. But I have one that if I'm sitting outside and I'm letting them free range and stuff, she'll do her free range and then she'll come over and she'll hop up and then I'll put her on my lap and then she'll fall asleep and cuddle.
Aw.
I'm just like, oh my
Aw.
God.
That's
Chicken.
fucking funny.
Yeah.
That is
So
super
That's
funny.
cute.
it's interesting how physical touch it goes through different species, I guess you can say, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think we should do a road hug tour and we're not going to charge any
Okay.
money. And we
Yeah,
won't
it's gonna
collect
be
your license
free.
plate.
No. And you can wear whatever you want.
And you wear,
We're not gonna
even
have
though
no
I'm wearing
rules.
burgundy, I always wear burgundy because it's my power color.
Oh.
Oh. I wear
we
a lot of black and gray.
Yeah.
Red. I have some splashes of color here and there in my closet, but a majority is just like dark colors. Or a lot of band t-shirts. Right now I'm wearing one.
Nice.
What band is that?
Tool.
Oh, Tool.
Oh,
I could
Yeah.
just see the top.
Oh,
nice.
it's like one of my favorite bands ever, actually.
Hmm.
The words in a Tool song can really, really bend your mind.
Mm.
Let you think about a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I
Shannon-
think anyway.
It says here, music.
Fuck yeah, music.
Yep.
Yeah, music is helpful.
I kind of squirreled. My kids just came in the house, so we got way off topic.
Yeah, we did, but that's okay.
It is okay.
And
It's
we were talking
okay.
about
Okay.
coping mechanisms, right? So like healthy
Yeah.
coping mechanisms. So
My healthy coping mechanism. I started making candles.
Yeah.
creating
Those are
something.
so cute. Yeah.
Yes. These ones are pumpkin spice latte.
Nice.
Love those.
Oh yeah, and I got a teeny tiny little pumpkin.
Oh, I
like
love that.
That's
I thought those would
adorable.
be good for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I am not sure that they'll last that long, but
Yeah.
I got 2 sales coming up here soon. So hopefully those are awesome healthy habits to have. Although sometimes I feel like I spend more on candle making than I drank, but
Right.
Oh well.
But you make it back. The next day after making candles, you don't wake up and wonder what the fuck you did.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
haven't hurt anybody making candles.
Nope.
Unless
Not
you spill like hot wax on
except
something.
for spill wax on myself, or I burn myself on my heat gun sometimes.
Mm.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah. So tapping into your creativity, I think, is really important too, because I believe that everybody is creative in one way or another. Because, like, you do your candles and creating scents
Yeah.
and finding the perfect little containers for it. Like, you're brilliant at it. And I know you've worked very, very hard at your craft. And obviously, you're very good at it
Totally.
because you make really great sales and you're catching your stride. Like, I like to paint and draw and do art that way. My husband, he's blacksmiths and does woodworking.
Oh,
And
nice.
he says, "Oh, I'm not creative at all," but he'll come in to the room and, like, the living room or whatever with something that he's created, and he makes, like, little ornamental things and blacksmiths them out of, like, just the
That's
chunk of
talent though. Like not
Yeah.
everybody can just do that.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
something for him. It's incredibly physical, but it's a creative also.
Yes.
So finding a creative outlet, I think, is really important for people. Some people write, some people journal. That's why I asked about journaling, right? Because a lot of people do journal. Like, I've tried to, but I don't know if I haven't given it a good go, or it's just something that doesn't work for me. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I don't do it. Like
When
I
I
don't
try
do
to
it.
journal, I end up writing it like a story.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Versus
all the
like
time doing
just
that.
me being like, I'm fucking pissed off. Fuck this motherfucker.
You read it after, you're like, who fucking wrote this?
Yeah, who wrote it? God, I've gone back in old treatment notebooks, and like the notes that I've taken from classes and stuff like that. The ones that really trip me out are the Christian ones. Cause like I got Bible verses in with the steps and
Yeah.
all that stuff. I'm like, whoa. And a lot of it still pertains. Like I'm not a complete snob. I can read a Bible verse and be like, oh, or a daily reading book, meditation book, and be like, okay, they're saying God, whatever. I can get use out of that. It's not completely just like fuck that. It doesn't help. Same thing with the 12 steps.
Yeah.
12-step treatment never really did any good for me. When I got into the cognitive behavioral treatment program, that worked better for me because it was more do, instead of it was more do on my own time.
Yeah.
Then here's this step 1, step 2, step 3. I realized that there is an order for steps, and some people need that structure. And I just was never a person that it worked for.
Well, it's like the stages of grief. Like, I'm sure you know the different stages of grief, right? Like the disbelief and the bargaining and all of those. The stages of grief are not what's the word? They're not linear.
Static.
Yeah, it's not linear. Like, you're not going to go through disbelief and then bargaining. You might go straight to anger.
Oh yeah.
You might go straight to, so it depends. It depends on your relationship with the person, the place in your life that you are at that time. It's going to be different for each person, but each stage you do go through, and some of the stages you go through for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Some things come back, like things that I think that I've worked through.
Yep.
That I'm just like, oh shit, why is this hitting me like that again? That's not right.
Yeah.
What did I miss? let's go back and fix that so it doesn't happen again. But it's always going to happen. There's always going to be something more that you could get from those different learning experiences. Call them all learning experiences because that's really what they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're not done until you're in the ground.
Yeah, and I think I'm probably going to be the last one to die.
That's good.
I'm just too fucking stubborn. It'll be the end and everybody I fucking know will be dead. I'm like, there's nobody even at my funeral. Fuck you, fuckers.
Like, I'm still here.
I'm here. Fuck you.
Still kicking.
Yeah.
So I want to be old enough that when I can just say whatever the fuck I want, and people would be just like, "Oh, that's just grandma." Like, I want to get to that age.
Yeah, I've got some plans for when I'm really old too.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm talking 102 in my wheelchair, like still able to walk, but they got to wheel me around from distance, right?
Oh.
And I'll be hobbling around with my cane or whatever, and just walk up to someone and going, "Young man, you have a great tuchus."
Yeah, slap him in the ass with the
Yeah.
cane.
Like, back in my day.
I love those stories from working with old people. Just like
yeah.
everything that comes out. There was one old guy told me he was a Soviet spy and he killed Hitler. I was
You're like,
like,
you did.
no,
What?
you didn't, but it's okay. But I mean, he did fight in World War II. It's just not like.
Was he the same guy that saved the Pope from an apple?
No, but he does have crazy eyebrows.
Oh, good.
So I had a wonderful conversation with a really old lady one time, and she was telling me stories about how she was in her 20s. Her and her girls would borrow her dad's car, and it was old, like 1920s Plymouth or something, and they would take it through the cornfields when they chopped out the corn and everything, and they would take it on joyrides through the cornfields in their skivvies. So it's like their bra and their culottes. And they would do donuts and stuff, and they would sip on brandy while they were doing it. And then they'd go to the water hole and they'd go skinny dipping, and they'd put their
fun.
and then they'd come back, and she's like, and we were a bit flush in the cheeks when we came home, and it was such a wonderful time. And I'm like, lady, you had the best life. Like, oh my God, this little sweet lady wearing like a floral dress and a little hat. You think she's the sweetest thing. No, that bitch was pulling donuts drunk in a farmer's field and went skinny dipping.
I love that. I
Yes.
love that. That's shit
Yeah.
that I used to do. I used to have like a full moon ritual
Yeah.
of swimming in the pit. Like every
Yeah.
full moon for my first couple of years,
Yeah.
clean from meth, I full moon ritual.
Yeah.
Where would you swim?
We have iron ore pits here, like they're old dumps that have filled, over the years. And we have pits behind our house. So, yeah, taconite pit's my favorite. Something.
So I'm friends with Kizza on the telly.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
The telly cracker. Apparently, if you mention it in YouTube.
Really?
We're not allowed to talk about it on YouTube.
So
interesting. Oh, well, I'm good. I don't, unless you ladies have any other questions for me.
I can't think of any.
Well, but I do want to say thank you so much for sharing your story, like the kind of the early life, and I want to say holy shit, you've been through so much, but you've come out the other end an incredibly strong, amazing, and kind person. And that's a miracle in itself because it would be easy just to give up and be bitter and destroy things, but you've gone the other side. You've become a wonderful, kind, considerate, giving, and incredibly compassionate person. And that speaks wonders on how much of an amazing human being you are. And I am so blessed to know you.
Thank you.
I don't think I can say anything quite as nice as that. That was great, Holly.
I'm a talker.
You are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm blown away by your Wellness Wednesdays, any ones that I've seen, because the stories of the people that have, come out the other side are pretty harsh. Like, you guys have been through some hard
Amazing.
times, and I wouldn't have known that about you, if you didn't talk about it. I really wouldn't have known that about you.
You got to give it away to keep it right. That's a treatment slogan. Not that you guys ever been in treatment, but thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
There have been times I've been an asshole for sure. I
Yeah.
don't feel like I deserve that.
Hey,
As soon as you're complimenting me, I'm thinking of like 90 times that I was a fucking asshole.
that's part of the reason why I like you.
Yeah.
Because you can be an asshole.
Yeah.
And that's how we know you're real.
It just depends on who you are. There's only, so much I'm going to take before I come back or just completely ignore you altogether.
Yeah. Yeah, you get to a point where you're just like, you do have time for this. I only have so much time on this planet, and I don't want to deal with your fucking bullshit.
Yep. I'm done with it.
What I say to strangers, just no thank you. I'm not taking that on.
Yeah. It's not my job. It's above my pay grade.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Not my department.
Nope. Anyway, let's get the hell out of here because I gotta.
My dog is making a bed behind me. I'm sure we can hear him digging at his bed. He's digging. Oh, now he's gonna dig on the couch for a while.
Nice.
I gotta put dinner away.
Right. Well, lots of love to everyone. Thank you for showing up tonight to hear about the story.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for sharing, Jarna.
Sorry if I didn't make sense.
Oh no,
you
made
kind of skipped around a lot, but you want to play the See You Next Tuesday?
Yeah, I'll play the See You Next Tuesday. I like that one.
All
right.
Bye.
So, bye.
Okay, bye.
See you next Tuesday. Mwah.
Maybe the next step in your healing journey is to go around calling people fucking cunts. That is all for today's therapy session. I'll see you next Tuesday.